My name is Stephen Kent. I'm a self-taught developer, and I also taught myself how to make maps. I'm going to try and walk you through how I did that without a formal background in software engineering or GIS. As Amy said, I'm also a photographer. This is one of my photographs of Cold Spring Pond, New Hampshire. I think photography and map making go well together. They're both visual mediums. You're trying to make an interpretation on reality. And I think that photography influences how I make maps. So in April of this year, I saw a demo on LinkedIn on how to visualize building footprints in Oslo. And I thought that was cool. But immediately I wondered, like, what if it was a whole country? So I actually used the components of that demo and I visualized this and added data shader. I was really pleased with it. It's kind of moody like my photographs, but this Egypt map wasn't interactive, so I was looking for some more. So at the same time, I was seeing all these maps from this mysterious new company named Fuse, and they were making maps that I wanted to make. This is cab pickups aggregated into H3 cells in New York City. So I got started with Fuse, and I started using predominantly the Overture Maps UDF, and this is intersections in New York City. You know, kind of like the buildings in Egypt. I'm sort of painting a place by the sum of its parts. I also looked at satellite data. This is Gabriel Durkin's S2 Explorer UDF. It visualizes Sentinel-2 data using scientific colors. This is fields in the Netherlands. But at this point, I still kind of felt a little lost because I was able to manipulate the UDFs, but I wasn't able to kind of create my own because I didn't understand the components. That's when Fuse started releasing instant UDFs, in particular, instant join with Overture, which demystified the process and allowed me to get busy joining data with Overture. And here I'm joining Overture with Overture. This is hospitals and road networks around them in Paris. So I was kind of on this hunt for data when I went back to this DuckDB example of H3 cab pickups, and I wondered, what would those cab pickups look like if you join them with Overture buildings? So this is what I got, and I was really pleased with it. It's actually spurred a whole new movement of creativity for me. It's interesting, if you have a lot of point data, like this Parquet file has 12 million points, you can actually use H3 as for an easier spatial join with sources like Overture. So I also, here I'm making a H3 heat map of intersections and I'm joining them with roads. This is London. I also, the same components to apply for raster to vector. I've been working with array data, and this is Kevin Lacau's vegetation segmentation UDF that I'm joining with Overture buildings to look at vegetation around buildings. I've also been experimenting with Sentinel-2 and Landsat for similar experiments. There are two utilities I want to point out that I use all the time. The first one is con equals DuckDB Connect. This gives you all of your extensions for DuckDB, like the H3 extension. When I got started with H3 and DuckDB, I was doing it on the command line. It's gotten a lot easier. That's all you need. It works really well. The second one is get Overture. So when I got started, I was using the Overture Maps example UDF, but that changes. And in order to get the most recent releases and kind of stay up to date, I suggest, well, at least it works for me to use this function instead. And these both work in the Python SDK as well as the Workbench. And these come from Jennings Anderson's Overture Skyline UDF. Okay, so I started with a whole country. Now I'm ending things here with a neighborhood. This is 4 square places. Here are coffee shops, turned into isochrones, then into H3 to count the overlap, and then join with Overture buildings. So that's a lot. Let me see if I can just kind of quickly show you. So anyway, so this is New York City. This is Bushwick, Brooklyn. I'm going to zoom in. So you can see the taller, darker buildings are closer to more, within 5 minutes walking distance to more coffee shops. So it's kind of a cool way to explore the neighborhood. You can see there are fewer coffee shops around here. So we can also look at another type. I have a couple categories here preloaded. So this is Foursquare category for bars, and you can see a lot of bars in this area. This is kind of like the epicenter for nightlife. Anyway, so this is public, but we're still working on it. I'll publish the link on LinkedIn when it's ready. But I think this is a cool way to explore accessibility with Foursquare and Overture data. So I'd like to make maps for you, and I'm open to collaborate. So find me on LinkedIn or Discord. Thanks.
Thanks, Stephen. That was great, and I especially appreciate your call to collaboration. So obviously, anybody in the audience, feel free to take Stephen up on that and keep him continuing making really interesting visualizations. So one of the things that's interesting to me is how many people are coming into geospatial from different backgrounds, and I know that's the case for you. So would you maybe, reflecting on your own journey, have some advice for people who might feel overwhelmed or intimidated as they start to work with data and start to work with visualizations? Where's a good place to start?
Well, I mean, I think the person who spoke before me, Cushing, like he saw like 100 different Jupyter notebooks that are ready to go with code that works and amazing visualization. So I think looking out for examples, Matt Forrest is great too, and I think looking for examples, kind of playing with the components, trying to understand the components, and then building off to do the things you want to do. There's so much working code out there that it's just a matter of finding it and building it, making it your own.
Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate it.